Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about Rajakapotasana, or one-legged king pigeon pose. This is a dicey pose because it can lead to, it can be a precursor to certain injuries in yoga. So I want to make sure we're teaching it in a way that we prevent injury from doing this pose. But the benefits are tremendous for abdominal organs like your stomach and digestive tract, your structural areas of your back, your lower back, your inner thigh, your hip joint. A lot of the areas we tend to get tight in, this pose addresses all at one application of it. So one of the areas we get very tight in is gluteus maximus and the IT band, and this is a fabulous pose for stretching that. It also, we get tight on our inner thigh. This is a great pose for doing that. And we get tight in the iliopsoas, the hip flexors, the muscles that do that. And that's what this pose is really great at stretching, because all of these muscles, when they get tight, will pull your pelvis out of alignment and will give your lower back all kinds of problems once your pelvis is misaligned. And usually when we start getting back pain, those things don't get better. They actually get worse. We start protecting and holding those muscles that I just mentioned in greater tensions, or they become even weaker in some cases. And the dysfunction in the back gets worse. So what do we do about preventing this? Or at least if we do have back pain we're working with, how can we help regain comfort in our lower back? Well, Rajakapotasana is a good pose for that. Now, my concern for you is the knee, because it does require a lot of this type of rotation, external rotation. And as you can see, there's some pressure on my knee joint, and the meniscus in particular is cartilage that if we have a problem with it, this type of range of motion might not be a good idea for the meniscus if there's already some type of tearing or wearing down of the meniscus cartilage. So probably in that case, we're going to skip pigeon and we're going to find a more alternative pose, which we'll show in this little snippet. But how do we do Rajakapotasana safely? For most of us, we already coming in with yoga with tight hips. So we're going to have Freda come into our hands and knees right now. And we're going to start with our block. So let's get our block close by. She's just going to do it for herself. And she's going to slide her right knee forward. And she's going to keep the right foot pretty close to her body. Now she's pulling it forward, which I don't want her to do. She's very flexible with this one, so that is a typical adjustment she does. So I'm going to actually ask her to back off a little bit. So I'm going to take that block. We're going to place it right under her right thigh bone. So kind of like this. Yeah, like that, exactly. See how high her hips are now? That's going to massively reduce the pressure on the meniscus and the knee joint. And she has her right foot really close to her, so we're not really externally rotating strongly. Look at all the great stretches we're creating right now. Beautiful back extension here. It's a back bend in this position anyway. Look at this fabulous stretch down the iliopsoas of the left thigh. And then her right hip is in a deep flexion and it's rotated a little bit. So we have IT band, inner thigh, adductor, all the stuff that we really need to stretch to keep our back healthy. Now, for Freda, if she wants to go a little less but has support, we might want to take the block out, and instead we'll fold up a blanket like that and we'll put a blanket there. So that could work too. It doesn't have to be a block if you don't want to use a block. Now, in Freda's case, we're going to take that block out. She's pretty flexible, and maybe you are too with this one. So if you wanted to, you can pull the foot a little forward. Now she's going to do that, but be careful with that one, because that's going to massively increase the external rotation and it's going to put more pressure on your knee. So it might be a better idea to keep the foot closer to your body and not pull it out. She's almost got it parallel with her knee right now. And you can see she's very flexible with this one, so she doesn't need support. A lot of us do. Like me, I would need support to have my leg that far out. I would want my hips elevated a little bit. That's a little too much pressure on my knee. So we don't want to feel it here. Now there's some stress here for sure, but most of the stress is in the hip joint, it's in the pelvis, it's on the front of your left hip, and it's on your lower back. Now, we're going to also explore the decompression that this pose creates. So we're going to come down on our elbows. Now this makes the pose deeper in a lot of ways, because when you lean forward into it, that's going to really take the hip flexion in the right hip deeper, and it's going to make it more intense. Notice the left thigh is still getting a nice stretch, but it isn't quite as intense because now we've reduced that back bend, and it's a great stretch. So this is a really key pose. This is, if you like doing more challenging poses in yoga, this is probably one of the poses you want to be doing regularly. This will prepare your body for all kinds of other poses: lotus, splits, back bends like Urdhva Dhanurasana, the upward facing bow stretch. All of those poses that we consider the challenging poses in yoga are within this pose here. So it's a gateway pose to more difficult pose. But even not even going there with this is just a good pose to have in your practice to take good care of your back, because it addresses so many things structurally in your body, as well as internal organs, your abdominal organs. It's really good for the colon, the stomach, the digestive tract. Now, there is more challenging stuff that you can do with this if you want to explore this part of it. So let's come back to the straight elbow. Let's hold here just a little longer, and maybe we'll just explore this. Now, some of us may want to consider bending the left knee. Now, this is going to really involve the quad a lot more. Now, the quad, which needs to be stretched, this muscle on the front of her left thigh needs a good stretch. So by bending the knee, we take it to a whole new level. Now, we might consider taking the left hand and going back and actually grabbing the foot right now. And that's a great stretch as well. So we can start to really work the shoulder as well in this posture. So she may take the left hand and grab the foot and just hold that way and keep the hips squared. And again, we could have props under our hips, holding our hips higher, protecting our knee. She might wrap the elbow around the foot. Now that's really deep. And for a lot of us out there, quite frankly, this is not in our wheelhouse, what she's demonstrating right here. And that's okay. I don't care whether you can do something as deep looking as that. But that's, if this is fun for you, you can explore putting the foot in the crease of the elbow and try interlocking the hands, either holding them here or elevating them above the head. And again, these are beautiful shapes. They're not only just shapes that are beautiful to feel, but the way they move the energy in the body is really powerful. That's Ekapada Rajakapotasana. Go ahead and release that. We might just step out of this for a second onto our hands and knees. And we just might want to check out our right knee, make sure it's comfortable. So we'll lift the right leg in the air and just kind of wiggle the foot around and release any of that that compression that we had on our knee there. Anyway, this is a great pose for just general health of your lower back. And let's just show an alternative pose. If this is not a good pose for you, let's try an alternative pose. So let's lay back on our back. And our alternative today, we're going to take our left ankle and place it across our right thigh. So we'll do the other side here. So this is the opposing side we just did. So if I was going to have her do another one-legged king pigeon, I would slide her left knee forward and have her right leg back. So we're doing the same idea here, but on the left side. But instead of being in pigeon, we're in what's called the eye of needle. And we might just hold here. So this is already an intense stretch for most people. And again, it's hitting a lot of the same places: IT band, inner thigh adductor region, the iliosacral area, psoas. The one thing we're missing with this one is psoas, but we'll get to our psoas with other poses like the Ardha Supta Virasana that I showed you in a previous tape. That's a great one for iliopsoas. So if you can't do the pigeon, this is the next best thing. Maybe we'll pick up the leg like that and we'll interlock our hands around the right thigh. In some cases, some people feel that this is even better in certain ways than pigeon is for your lower back because of what it does to the sacrum and decompressing the lower back. But you can feel you can either keep the elbows straight or you could pull the leg in. Again, just like pigeon, I don't want you to feel pain in your knee. If there's pain in your knee, then the foot we either straighten our elbows or we even put our right foot back on the floor. But again, it's going to have a lot of the similar effects that pigeon does without the iliopsoas stretch. That's the only thing that's missing from it. If you could do pigeon, go with that one. If pigeon isn't a good choice for your knee, it hurts the knee too much, or maybe it hurts the hip too much, this is the next best thing. Let's do the eye of needle. Either one of these would be fabulous for keeping your back healthy, stable, and strong. Thanks for your attention today. Enjoy your practice. Namaste, yogis. Thank you.